Hello, and today we'll be playing NeveN. This will be for Tenoch's route. Looking out my window, I can see part of the garden. Not the one where we face Calathon, but still. I almost expected to have trouble looking at it. I thought I wouldn't really know how to face this place again, but it's just a garden, nothing more. From my window, it's as if it hasn't been affected by the monster that still sleeps in the bowels of the castle. I'm not allowed to see the cat, but at least I know he hasn't woken up since our confrontation. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a good thing. No one's really decided what to do with him yet. After all, a knock on the door snaps me out of those thoughts, even though it's not really a surprise since I was expecting it. Volt enters my room, then carefully closes the door behind him. Sorry not to greet you in a more distinguished manner. I think my leg didn't appreciate me taking it up and down the stairs yesterday. I don't mind, Lord Eric. I don't consider protocol necessary when teaching. In that case, we can drop the Lord. I don't think I'll ever get used to it. I prefer not to use it either, at least during our lessons. The priest sits down opposite me, taking the time to observe me for a moment. How do you feel? Pretty well, I'd say. My leg tires quickly, and that's not what I mean. You face the avatar of another god, and a forgetful one at that. And on top of that, you had to use your brain to actually fight for the first time. So I repeat my question, how do you feel? For weeks I've been hearing about how important my brain is and how powerful it can be. Apparently I'm supposed to be a weapon capable of stopping armed conflict single-handedly. And this is a result: a broken leg, an injured back, unable to sing. I can count myself lucky to still be able to walk. And Tenoch lost an arm, definitely. I was barely able to slow Calathon down. Then again, I think he was just as surprised to see that I was doing something. So let me ask you a question. How do you think I feel? Volt takes a few moments to think before placing his gaze in mine. The gifts of the gods are a complex matter. Many children think that receiving their brain will change everything, that it will allow them to fulfill their dreams and change their lives to be who they want to be. But the brain is nothing without the branded. No matter how big, no matter how powerful, it's nothing without willpower, knowledge, discipline. Hence the importance of choosing the person who will learn to use it. Considering your teacher, it's hardly surprising that you suffered defeat and not fight. Hey now, Tenoch taught me to use my brain as well as possible. But Lord Tenoch's domain is politics, not warfare. When faced with an opponent, he simply overwhelms him with his raw power, and it works for him. It's not impossible that in terms of sheer destruction, the Ambassador is the most powerful of avatars. Argon seems to offer that to many of his branded. That's not your case. Your brand, powerful as it is, doesn't allow you to defeat simply by using its power. You need more. You have to master its subtleties and understand how to use it effectively in any situation. And this is something you can teach me. I took part in the training of the best warriors in Phosphang. Why do you think our kings wanted to entrust your training to me before the ambassador managed to convince them? I just don't ever want to feel so powerless again. It's horrible to feel so helpless. In the past, I just went away, but not anymore. I can't allow it, and I won't. So, if by training me, you can assure me that I'll have the means to defend myself, maybe even to win, that's the case, I can assure you, the temple never lies. In that case, what should I do? Volt smiles and leans forward, getting as close to me as he can. There's something strange in his gaze, something almost ravenous. Start by telling me everything you know how to do, everything you've learned. I want to know as much as I can about the gift NeveN has given you. Since you can't activate it right now, we'll have to work on what you know, and for that, I need to know what Tenoch may have failed to communicate in his reports. I need all your knowledge. Every detail, every piece of information. Tell me everything. His voice, which has been calm and steady up to that point, reveals his thirst for knowledge in these few words. It's almost frightening. He's not wrong, though. If he wants to train me as well as possible, he needs to know what I already learned. And I want him to train me. I want to learn how to use my brain. And above all, I want to be able to face the next threat on my own. I can no longer afford to let others save me and put themselves in danger for me. So I tell the priest everything I know, my abilities, my limits, the influence I can have on frozen objects. I hide nothing. Vo absorbs every word I say in silence, merely asking a question now and then to clarify this or that detail. I think that's all. It would seem that Lord Tenoch's reports were indeed complete. Did you doubt it? Your affection for the ambassador is not really a secret, but you mustn't forget that he is still a foreign lord. He will always serve his interests and those of Kazal first. We cannot afford to trust him entirely. I'm about to answer him before I realize he has a point. Tenoch convinced me not to warn the kings of what we knew about the attack Athro. If we had, things might have been different. We could have defeated Calathon, and Tenoch would still have his arm. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out that way. Even with my power, I can't change the past. Then the vision I had in the middle of the fight comes back to me. With everything that happened, I haven't thought about it since. Maybe there's something else. Really? So he's been hiding something from us after all. No, it happened during our confrontation with Calathon's power, with Avatar, and he doesn't know about it. I'm not even sure exactly what happened. If we had, things might have been different. We could have defeated Calathon, and Tenoch would still have his arm. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out that way, and even with my power, I can't change the past. Then the vision I had in the middle of the fight comes back to me. If everything that happened, I haven't thought about it since. Maybe there's something else. Really? So he's been hiding something from us after all. No, it happened during our confrontation with Calathon's avatar, and he doesn't know about it. I'm not even sure exactly what happened. Explain. I had a vision in the middle of the fight. Before I activated my brain, it was simply awake. I saw Calathon devour Tenoch in an explosion of flames that devoured me whole. I think I died in that vision. That's what allowed me to pull him out of the monster's path quickly enough to save his life. But not his arm. You mean you had a vision not of things as they might have been, but as they might become? I think it only happened once, and I don't know exactly why or how. It's even possible that I just briefly activated my brain without realizing it at one point. It's possible, but I doubt it. This is a most interesting development. It seems that NeveN has offered you even more than we thought. His gifts are truly wonderful. I don't know if seeking a friend, being devoured, and feeling flames burning my flesh would fit into my definition of what's wonderful. I'll remind you that my visions aren't just things I see. I feel them as if I were living them. Suffering is only a trial that the gods make us face. It is possible to contain and overcome it. I'll teach you. I'm not sure what that means, nor do I like the idea. Would you rather not be able to use a part of your power that could save lives like you did with Tenoch? No. Then we'll also have to find out exactly what triggers this kind of vision. If we could avoid doing that by making me face a giant monster, I appreciate it. We'll see. What does he mean by that? All in all, this is fascinating and extremely instructive. You've given me a lot to think about. Glad to see that at least one person is getting use of it. Glad to see that at least one person is getting some use out of it. This is an understatement, but I still leave you. You're still injured, and without the activation of your brain, there's not much more we can do. Not to mention that I have research to conduct and a plan to put in place to best prepare for your training. We'll see each other soon. Great, can't wait. The look he gives me makes me realize that my sarcasm was a little too obvious. Oops. Well, it's too late to take it back. I don't really have the mood to worry about that anyway. Sorry, tired. Rest up then. I will, I promise. He watched me one last time before leaving the room. I then collapsed into the bed outside. In view of what happened last time, I suppose it could have been worse. I still don't like Vo. There's something strange about him. His fascination with the gods and what they can do, and the way he talks about pain gives me the creeps. But he looks serious when he offers to help me, and right now, that's what I need most. Well. Looks like your old Vo finally finished you off. Hello, Rowan. People usually knock before they come in. The door was open, so I took that as an invitation. I watched my pause to suit and an amused glance at the lieutenant, who merely smiles back at me. What are you doing here? Just dropped by to see how my favorite student was doing. You're a student? I helped Gillian train you, so that makes me your teacher, I suppose. So how are you doing? Everyone seems mainly interested in my health at the moment. Considering what you've been through, is that really surprising? Not really, but I'm fine overall. It hurts here and there, but nothing permanent. I'll be alright. That's good to know. I'd offer to heal you a bit myself, but I'm more likely to grow flowers in places they're not supposed to be. Here's an image I'd rather not have imagined. It's always a pleasure to be of service. Can we talk a little about what happened? The report the captain gave me says it was probably the beast that attacked in the C2, but I'd like to be sure. You know how it is. I'd like to know I finished my job well. Apart from Les, Tenoch, and myself, I don't know if anyone knows exactly what happened. I don't even know if they realize that Picard is Kelethon. Whatever I say to him, I'll have to be careful. I'm not sure what there is to say, honestly. Tenoch and I were strolling through the gardens when this thing stumbled upon us. After passing through the gals, of course. Shit. Excuse me? The creature, it killed the patrol guards and the gals before charging at you, as far as we know. Oh, I suppose so. They put up a good fight, by the way, which must have helped you in the battle. I had no idea Lee's plan was so powerful. There were burn marks all over the place when I took a look at the scene. What am I supposed to say to that? Maybe the panic increased his powers tenfold. I know it happens in some songs, so maybe it's true. It's always possible after all. The life and death situation sometimes puts us to our limits. I imagine that's just as true for our physical abilities as it is for our powers. Still, what a strange decision this creature made to attack the prisons and then leave for the gardens. It's not exactly the most natural route to take. The gals are one of the most protected places in the castle after all. It's almost as if it was looking for someone and went after him. I don't know, Rowan. I really don't. I can only tell you what I saw. That monster jumped on us by surprise to wounded Tenoch before getting burned. until it was nothing but ashes. I can't even imagine how hot it must have been. You were right next to it. You're lucky you didn't get burned more than that. So that's the official story. I guess that's the best way to hide Vakai's involvement. I suppose Tenoch knew what he was doing. He had to protect me. There's a brief moment of silence between us as Rowan stares at me. I think he knows I'm lying, but he also understands that I don't have much choice in the matter. At least I hope he does. Then he finally lets out a sigh. All we can hope for now is that Phosphine is safe and that this beast is well and truly dead. We're safe now, I promise. Even if he wakes up, Vakai is locked up and guarded, at least as well as can be expected. I hope. Rowan observes me for a moment before starting to smile again. Perfect then. Oh, one other thing before I forget. Someone came to the entrance in the morning asking to meet you. Will they stop at the gate? Contrary to what you seem to think, we don't let just anyone in the castle courtyard. This person's asked to see you. He wants you to meet him at the inn in town. Who is this mysterious person? A white wolf, branded by Oregon. Edwin's his name. Do you know him? Edwin's here? He's one of the guards from my old troop. That means they're here too. Was there anyone with him? Just a fox, branded by Huey. I only know of one person fitting that description, but it wouldn't make any sense. He's no connection to Rhaegar or Erwin. That must be a new member. Do you have his name? There you go. And can't be. It must just be a coincidence. Someone else bearing the same name and brand. Rico can't be here. He can't just no. Is everything okay? You look even paler than usual. Do you know him? Yes, he's an old friend of mine. I just didn't think I'd ever see him again, that's all. Are you sure? You look like I've just delivered the news of a calamity. I'm sure, yes. And don't worry, it's a surprise that took me off balance. Unfortunately, as much of a smile as I can, the last thing I want is for him to worry and ask me more questions. Or worse, for him to go and find Viggo himself. What is he? Why is he here? It's been 7 years now. Why come back to me? If you say so, but you don't have to see them, you know? Not to mention that in your condition, walking to an inn is probably not the best idea. I know. Thanks for the information. Now, I'll see what I can do with it. Does he want revenge to make me pay for what I did to him? It's not like him, but 7 years can change you a lot. I know something about that. I don't know what I should do. I don't know if I should see him or ignore him. I need to talk to someone about that. You wouldn't happen to know where Tenoch is, would you? The ambassador? Given the time of day, he's usually be in the baths training, but I doubt he'd be doing that right now with his injury. Probably in the library or maybe in the courtyard. He enjoys the gardens, but I doubt he'd want to go back there anytime soon. I doubt it too. I'll try the library, I guess. Where is it exactly? Rowan throws me an amused smile. Not a great reader, I take it. Rowan, you're in luck. There aren't too many stairs to climb to reach it. It's close to Royal Wing. While the prince has his own personal library, he also enjoys visiting the one intended for the rest of the castle and regularly donates books and parchments. Thank you. My pleasure. He gives me one last amused look before taking on a more serious air. Before you go and join him, I'm glad you're all right. Sincerely. But be careful in the future, okay? As much as possible, I don't really want to go through that again. But I also have to learn to be able to face this kind of situation if it ever happens again. Good. That's all I can answer you. But I can offer you a little more. What do you mean? I'm going that way. I can help you traverse part of it. The snow leopard smiles more brightly at me before grabbing my crutches with one hand and approaching me. Rowan, what are you doing? You're hurt. I'll just help you. Rowan, no. He slides his arms under me before lifting me up, forcing me to grab onto his neck if I don't want to fall. Rowan, put me down. I look ridiculous. The snow leopard doesn't listen to me and steps into the hallway. Rowan! Fortunately, he puts me down before we pass be past anyone simply supports me for the rest of the day. And I've got to hand it to him. It limits the strain I feel on my leg. Once in the courtyard, however, he leaves me and points out the shortest route to the library, as Tenoch doesn't seem to be here. To my delight, it's not far away, and I can quickly enter the room. The smell of paper and old parchments quickly hits my nose, that and the dust. Something tells me this isn't the most commonly used room in the castle. Actually, there are only two people here. An old beaver is busy transcribing something on a book, and he gives me a brief scowl before turning his attention back to his work. And then there's Tenoch, sitting at a table, an open scroll in front of him. From where I'm sitting, I can see what look like drawings or schematics, perhaps machines. I wonder what he could want to do with that. I limp up to him. He doesn't react. It's weird, considering I'm not particularly discreet. Even when I sit up opposite him, he remains immersed in his reading. By NeveN, I don't know what it's about, but it must be bloody exciting. Finally, he looks up and seems almost surprised to see me. Eric? Hi there. It took you forever to see me. Sorry, I've been busy. I can see that. What are you reading that's so exciting? A treatise of prosthetics. I'm looking at my options in that area. Oh, and did you find anything? Not really. Most of them are purely cosmetic, with no real use beyond that. I'd rather stay the way I am. And the hook is out of the question. Really? It would give you a pirate look. I'm serious like that. The look on Tenoch's face tells me enough to know that I better drop the subject. I let out a long sigh before looking to the side. I was in the wrong. From beginning to end, I blamed him for something truly horrible, even though I was responsible for it. I was in grief and mourning. I just wanted to hurt him in the hope that it would take away the pain I was feeling myself. When I realized what I'd done, I just ran. I left him as fast and as far away as I could. I haven't seen him since. In that case, he sighs before trying to catch my gaze, looking into it. You already know what you have to do. I think you're just hoping I'll tell you to do something else. You want me to give you an excuse not to see him. It's been so long, Tenoch. I don't know how he's going to react or why he's here. He probably hates me. He has a right to, after what I did to him, and if he does, I'm not sure how I'll feel or how I'll react. But running away isn't the answer. He has a right to know what you think about him. Eric, you ran away from this relationship without giving him time to know it was over. And if I'm being honest, I think an apology is probably in order. That I can agree with. But you're right. I know it's the right thing to do, to give him the opportunity to end our story, and for good this time. All I can hope is that he accepts my apology. I doubt I'm entitled to anything more. You'd be surprised how much we can forgive sometimes. You did manage to forgive me for dragging you into this whole thing with the gardens. For a brief moment, I can hear a degree of uncertainty in Tenoch's voice. Does he think I blame him for what happened? After what we've had to go through together? I'm taking a few moments to think about it. Should I resent him? He made a mistake, and obviously it was his ambition and pride that drove him to it, but he never meant any harm. He sincerely thought only of helping, unlike me. Of course, you're forgiven for it. It's not like you wanted what happened. So you see, who knows? And there's only one way to find out. I just hope it goes well. I'd offer to be there, but I don't think that's a good idea. No, you're right. It's probably better if I see him alone. And you never know. If it goes well, maybe you'll be able to meet and discuss my extraordinary qualities together. I attempt to smile with this faint line of humor. My heart's not really in it, but I've got to try and add a little levity to this conversation. I'm pretty sure we focus more on your flaws, but it's an idea. So it's going to be a really short discussion. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure we'll be able to find a few things to talk about. He gives me an amused look before rolling up his parchment and placing it back in front of him. But none of that will ever happen if I keep you locked up here watching me read, will it? Are you sure we can't wait a little longer? You know how much I love you and adore your presence, Eric, but we've seen what happens when you let a problem linger for too long. That's not what I'm trying to do, I promise. I just want to spend some time with you. Is it really that bad? Well, I guess not. But promise me you'll set up a meeting with him. I swear I will. He picks up the parchment and gets up to put it on one of the cupboards. When he returns, I notice that at first he moves what's left of his left arm forward to grab his chair before switching. How are you managing? With difficulty. It'll take more than a few days to get used to, but yesterday was good for me in a way to be able for a moment to just let loose. And I'm sure it'll get better with each passing day, and if you need a shoulder to lean on, I'll be there. I don't doubt it for a second. After a moment's silence, we divert the conversation to happier topics, a few laughs, a few jokes, a kiss here and there, and we end up having a pretty good time despite the way this discussion started. I'm afraid I have to put an end to this charming little moment. Really? I'd love to stay, but I need to see Les and Aeon. We need to discuss some of the terms of our agreement to make sure everything is in place before my brother arrives. I need to have as many arguments on my side as I can to convince him. Don't worry about that. I'm telling you, I don't see why anyone would deny you your place. Although it would suit me if they did. It would mean he could stay here with me instead of leaving. But I can't say that. We both knew what we were getting into when this all started. I'm not going to go back on my words. I'll enjoy him while he's here. But I understand you want to check everything out. I won't detain your highness any longer. I bowed to him exaggeratedly. I immediately regretted. My ribs feel like they're breaking again for a brief moment. I sit up as quickly as I can, breathless. Oh, this was a bad idea. Is everything alright? I take note that I should avoid bending over for the moment. I'm glad I listened to Luke. I'm glad I listened to Lusk and didn't try to sing, but I'm sure now that would have been a very bad idea. But Argon, Eric, be careful. Your jokes aren't nearly good enough to justify hurting yourself. I beg your pardon, my humor is excellent, and if I need to suffer a little for it, I'll accept it. Tenoch steps forward and kisses me tenderly before gently pushing me towards the corridors. Do it for me then, alright? I just want you to be okay. Sure. It's not like I intend to hurt myself on purpose anyway. I just like you to be careful, that's all. Once outside, the lizard takes the time to stretch before briefly squeezing my hand in his. Don't forget to arrange this meeting with Vigo. Ask one of the guards at the entrance to let him through next time he comes. That should be enough. I know why he told you. I'll do it. He smiles at me one last time before abandoning me in the corridors. And despite my confidence when I respond to him, the urge is tempting to just run, to fix nothing and leave Vigo behind. But that wouldn't solve my problems. Now that he knows where I am, I won't be able to run away from him forever. Not to mention that Tenoch is right. I almost said Fakad. Tenoch. Not to mention that Tenoch is right. It wouldn't be fair to Vigo to Vigo himself either. He deserves better than this. He's at least entitled to one last discussion or at least an explanation. And more importantly, an apology. With a sigh, I start walking toward the courtyard. I might as well try to settle this as soon as possible. The longer I wait, the more complicated it will be. I understand myself well enough to know that. The entrance gate is guarded by two people. If the first guard doesn't tell me anything, the second, a white fox with a saddle brand running up his head looks vaguely familiar. I've probably come across him before in the castle. I just don't really remember who he was. After all, there are dozens of guards here, and it's pretty rare that I have to talk to them directly, so I approach and plant myself right in front of him with a huge smile. "Hello, can I bother you for 2 seconds?" The fox looks me up and down briefly with a slight surprised expression before nodding in response. Looks like I haven't come across the most talkative of the lot. Not that it really matters. I didn't exactly come here for a prolonged discussion. 2 people have come to ask to see me today, a wolf named Erwin and a fox named Vigo. He nods again. I know they gave you the name of an inn where I could meet them, but unfortunately, given the state of my leg, I don't think I'll be able to walk that far. Would it be possible for you to send someone to tell them to come back here, and also to make sure we let them through next time? He seems to think for a moment before activating his brand, the black stripes on his head beginning to shake slowly, almost as if they were dancing. Well, why? What's going on? Did I say something wrong? On a more serious note, we can probably get you something, right, if you really want to replace your arm. I don't know. There's also the matter of my brand. I'd rather try to avoid wearing too many things that could potentially catch fire. Is that where your aversion to clothes come from? Partly. It's also because I know it draws an eye. He gives me a playful look, and I always feel better. He seems to be in a much better mood than he was yesterday. That said, I have to ask what you're doing here. I don't think a library is really your place of choice. Oh, clearly not. You know I can't read. I just wanted to see how you were doing after yesterday and have a little chat. Oh, about that. I wanted to apologize for the way I acted yesterday. I shouldn't have behaved the way I did and let you see me like that. Yeah, that's why we're together too. You helped me when I wasn't well. It's only natural that I should do the same. You don't have to hide from me. I guess I'm just not used to not being in control. I think that, in view of the situation, is understandable. You've been injured badly. You can afford to be a little more on edge than you normally are, don't you think? I wish it were that simple, but on the contrary, it's now that I have to show myself at my strongest. The world has to understand that this doesn't influence me, that I'm still as efficient as before, and that I can withstand this kind of hardship. But you're not. You're still an African, Tenoch. We can't ask the impossible of you. He smiled sadly at me before placing his hand on mine. That's precisely what I'm asked to do and what I am expected to accomplish. You know what my future is, what my goals are. I must be more than a mere mortal. I must prove to the world that I will be worthy of my title. You quoted me the songs about the kings of old. Didn't they too go beyond the limits of our species? They are legends in songs. They are legends in songs tonight. But they are based on reality, at least partially. I'm not saying I have to perform goat-like feats, Eric, but I have to pretend I can. At least to the point that others will believe me, especially my brother. If he comes, it's not to check up on me. He's going to test me. And test your past, I have no doubt. Look at what you've accomplished here. You've secured a lasting alliance between our nations, defeated an avatar, befriended royalty. You even managed to form a bond with the royal bard, bearer of the brand of NeveN. If all that doesn't prove your persuasive power as well as the control you now have over your brand, I don't know what does. I appreciate you putting yourself on my list of accomplishments. Hey, you see me. If I'm not a great prize worth winning, what is? At least I can say that this whole journey has affected hasn't affected your self-esteem. Some things are indestructible, and I know how cute I am. He laughs briefly before leaning in to kiss me. And out of the corner of my eye, I see the archivist watching us with an annoyed expression before letting out alongside. What would I do without you? Probably what I do without you. We support each other. Which is, I guess, a good way to change the subject to what I wanted to talk about in the first place. But I'd like to discuss something else. And here I thought you'd come to find me just to enjoy my presence. Oh, that's one of the reasons I came. But there's something else too. Rowan told me someone wanted to see me, and it's Vigo. He's here in Frostfang, and he wants to see me. I don't know what to do, Tenoch. And you like me to tell you what you should do? I don't know, maybe. I can't decide that for you, I'm afraid. I only know what you've told me about him, and let's be honest, it wasn't much, and I think we both know that's far from the whole story. I let out alongside before looking to the side. He then raises his hand, presenting it in front of him, palm up, and part of his saddle seems drawn to it before rising above it, rapidly taking shape, changing the form a figure, an extremely recognizable figure, Gillant. The saddle panther then starts to nod, and I can only stare at the shadowy show, intrigued by what he means, and impressed with the guard's mastery over his powers. I'm not quite sure what you're getting at here. The second guard then coughs, drawing my attention to him. Please forgive him, my lord. I'm afraid he's mute, and this is the only way he can communicate. Oh, by NeveN, I'm sorry. The fox simply smiles at me in response. You couldn't have known, my lord. He's one of the new guards, hired under Lord Aeon's orders to increase the size of the castle garrison. He's just pointing out that he'll need to ask Captain Gillant's permission before he can allow your friends to enter. Oh, of course, I understand. I'm sure that won't be a problem. The fox then raised his hand to make the saddle panther disappear, replacing it with two smaller figures that of a rabbit dancing and a bird playing music. Is that me and a cat? It's really cute. If it is, you're good at the saddle puppet thing. He nods, smiling wider, obviously pleased with the compliment. Now that I think about it, if this is the only way for him to make himself understood by others, I imagine he had plenty of time to practice and perfect his art. And it's a pretty nice way to communicate. The little figure disappears, replaced by another form, clearly that of the fox himself, rhythmically bobbing his head, a small, shadowy heart floating above him. It doesn't take much effort to figure out what he means by that. Oh, thank you very much. I'm so glad you like what we do. Unfortunately, I can't sing anything for you at the moment, but I'll be able to eventually. You'll have plenty of opportunities to listen to us. I'll try to see if I can ask Gillant to let you guard one of the noble events we'll be performing at. It won't be exactly the same, but you'll be able to see us at least. His smile seems to grow even wider as he nods. His saddle image replaced by that of a cat means singing and dancing. I get used to this thing. He manages to make himself understood without too much trouble, and on top of the practicality is a rather cute way to express. Also, the opportunity to meet someone who appreciates my art is always a plus. Thanks for all of this, and for the service too. He makes the little figures appear and gives me a quasi-military salute. I'd better let you do your job. You don't want to be blamed for wasting your time on me. Good day, my lord. I will return to the courtyard, heading for my room. My leg is starting to tug at me, and I need to sit down. I wasn't aware that Aeon had ordered that we recruit new members to the guard. It makes sense, I suppose. I've already heard more than once the comments about the lack of guards to accomplish all there is to do, mostly due to the fact that the majority of the army is busy beating the countryside in search of bandits. And the losses during the attack probably didn't help. At least this guard is friendly, and he likes what I do. What's in my room? I throw myself on my bed or decide I can't take this injury anymore. I want to be able to move around again. And I need to be able to sing again. I'm going to have to get ready to meet Viggo. I need to think about what I want to say to him, and I'll have to figure out how to make a proper apology. To be continued. Hello everyone, we hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits such as bills 2 weeks in advance. We also have unique stories about the characters in NeveN. If you like the VN, please also feel free to rate us on Itch.io. It will help us out a lot. Once again, a big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. Alright, so we got to see that White Fox again. This time he is a guard. So in I think in a cat's route he was mute, and we had no idea who he was, but he was in the castle, and he went inside Eric's room. I don't know, I guess to cheer him up, I don't know, but he was mute, but he was a guard. And then in Mayborn's route, we see him working in the it was a live, I think in the Scroll's office. I forgot his name, but you know that Scroll who is part of the court and kind of shady. He works in his office while the paperwork, and he did actually speak. It was just one line, but he said when Eric asked him for something, he said, "Make it quick." So it did speak in that. But we go now here to Tenoch's route, and he's mute again, and this time he's a soldier. He's one of the new recruits. So it seems to me like he's in different professions. So I wonder if he will play a part in the story or not. But it is kind of interesting. Like, depending on the route, he's in a different profession, and depending on the route, he is either mute or he does speak, even if it's just one line. But he did speak in Mayborn's route. He seems to be getting over his, I won't say getting over it, but he seems to be adapting to his new life, you know, with him having his arm gone. It bothers him, but he's slowly getting used to it. So he also gave Eric some very good advice, and he was very honest with Eric about Viggo, and that he hasn't really told him all that much about Viggo for him to make really an opinion all this time. And it wasn't until after that Eric decided to give him explanation about Viggo and his life with him, that because Tenoch was able to give Eric better advice, you know, because since he got more knowledge now after Eric decided to tell him about Viggo, and that Tenoch told Eric that he should apologize to Viggo, and you know, just have a final conversation so they can at least things between them can settle and they can move on, you know, just so that be close between the two, and so that both of them can move on with their lives away from each other. So he gave some good advice to Eric. So we already got to see Viggo and a cat in both a cat and Mayborn's roots. So we'll see him next time for Tenoch. So there's also a part of the game that obviously I didn't do, like like we have to make a choice to either spare Vakad or kill him in both Akit and Mayborn's routes. So well, I forgot to. I think at the beginning of the game, where you have where those guards. Well, not guards, but like way back at the beginning of the game, we got ambushed by the bandits. You had to make a choice: either defend yourself or lay down your sword. Apparently, I made a decision to defend myself, and because of that one choice, I ended up not getting the choice where we either spare Vakad or kill him in Tenoch's route. So literally just found this out while recording this part here. So I had to go back to the beginning of the game and change that option, to where I surrender, and then afterwards I was able to come back here. We'll come back to Tenoch's route, where the choice became available for me. So it became available, so now there is an option where we either spare Vakad or kill him for Tenoch's route 2. So I have to go back to that part there. So that's the reason why it didn't appear in this video, because of that one choice way back at the beginning of the story. So this basically is a part. What you saw here is what would happen if you spared Vakad. So we haven't missed anything as far as that is concerned. So all we gotta do now is to go to the choice and then decide to kill Vakad. So I'll make a separate video for that. You'll see that it will be the very next video I make. So I think in another day or two you'll see that video where we kill Vakad. So what you see now is a story for Tenoch when you spare Vakad. So in the next video, it will be the story for Tenoch when we kill Vakad. So that's all. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.